welcome back to Swans Cast, everyone, after not the result, or the day really, for Welsh sports fans based in Swansea, that anyone would have liked yesterday. However, we are here to talk about it. Probably best that we've talked about it the day after rather than just afterwards. I think Lee would agree with that.
Oh, yeah. I was not in the right frame of mind to talk about the game yesterday.
So we'll try and dissect it the best we can. We are joined by Jordan Webber, so welcome, Jordan.
Thank you for having me, lads. Pleasure as always.
Cheers for coming back once again. So we had Amy on for the pre-match, and we got you for the post-match to get your expert views in what happened and what went wrong, I guess. So to start off then, start off with you, Jord, being the guest. Overview for the match. Just a quick overview, how you feel, how you saw the things going.
Well, I would have much rather been in Amy's position, talking about the pre-match. No, like, I don't really know where to start, because it was just a weird day in general. Like, again, no team has done the double, and that's very much the case still. So I was in two minds going into this match, a bit like, right, okay, we got to keep that in mind. But I don't think the performance was as bad as some people have made out. I think any other day, I think Ayew's header off the post, or even Whittaker, he had a couple of chances. One of them goes in, sadly, it just weren't our day. And I think that's what it was. Cardiff defended brilliantly,
Yeah.
That's taken a lot to say that, but they did defend really well.
You've got to give credit where it's due, isn't it? They did throw their bodies on the line. You could tell that them not winning the last three, since we've been back down in Championship, is 4 technically, isn't it, with the one in the Prem as well. But
yeah,
the same sort of players in the last 3, like some of them, like Morrison, for example. They finally got up for one, which I would argue, like the last couple, the last one was quite easy for us. The 1-0 at home last year was quite easy for us. Probably should have won that by more than one. And the 0-0 was a bit dull.
Yeah.
This was the most up for it I've seen Cardiff for a derby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the double thing again, I think, coming into play, because you could see they were not going to lose that match. And and credit to them, like, as painful as it is to say, you could just see, and then like defending, throwing bodies everywhere. They knew they were not going to lose that game. Because of the whole double thing, and and like you said, it's just not our day, not our day at all.
Okay, so let's just start at the beginning. The only goal did come at the beginning. Before the goal, though, I mean, it was 8 minutes in. I've got the momentum graph on SofaScore ahead of me. I can't really remember much before the goal, to be honest. I can't remember a great deal of like how we were looking. Did we look settled? So if you two can help me out with that, because that seems to just gone from my memory. The SofaScore is saying it was us until they scored, essentially. But I don't recall anything of great note. The free kick from Hourihane, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it, I think. Yeah, that was pretty much it. Before that,
that was literally it. I think up until the goal, I think it was very 50-50, to be honest. Like Lee's just said, now other than the Hourihane free kick, I couldn't see anything that we created, and I couldn't see anything that Cardiff had created up until that goal.
Yeah. And the goal did come in the 8th minute. We, as Steve Cooper said in his post-match interview, we would all know as fans, and they knew as a team, the long throw was going to come in the box. And look, we didn't deal with it, but they're always hard. They are hard to deal with. We should do better. But it's easy to say that when you're not the one that's got like a height disadvantage in the box. Which is what I will put out there. Like, that is what Cardiff do, and they do that for a reason, and the reason is because it works well for them. And it's up to the other team to stop that happening, and we didn't do that. So what have you got to say on the goal then?
It's a typical Cardiff goal, isn't it? Typical Cardiff goal. I mean, like we've already said, like the whole reason why they bring in players like Kiefer Moore, and they got 2 big lads at the back like Morrison and Flint, they're like the headers, they're going to win every time.
Yeah.
Like I thought at times it was quite criminal of us to even try ping it up to Ayew. I know Ayew's brilliant, and has got a bit of a leap on him, but I don't think he was beating many players in the air 90% of the time. And yeah, the goal came, and to be honest, I think the minute that goal went in, I was a little bit, skeptical. Like I thought myself, first goal wins, like from the start. Yeah. And like Lee said in the beginning, the double's obviously in everyone's head, and I think Cardiff just had a little bit more get up and go in them.
Yeah. As for you speaking about aerials, right? So aerials won. To be fair, it's actually not as bad as what you would think. So Cardiff won 30, Swansea won 25. I would expect it to be higher in Cardiff's favour. I would. So
I would expect that.
I just want to that's just one thing which I'll highlight a couple of things like that throughout the video where with obviously like you've already pointed out, people are making out like it was an awful performance.
Yeah,
it really wasn't an awful performance the way I saw it anyway. Sounds like you agree. You're at a disadvantage with the height. That's something physical that you can't change. So you've got to be a little bit more cleverer about it. And unfortunately, for the goal, we weren't. Mac Rhines tries to header it away, gets a little flick on and probably makes things worse. Woodman needs a shout out here, though, because he does make a fantastic save for that first shot.
Yeah,
you can't blame where the rebound goes on the save, because if he doesn't make the save, it's a goal anyway. It's just up to us then to be quicker, but obviously we weren't. Go on, Lee.
I know. I was just going to say on the aerial thing, I do agree, because it's what Cardiff do. But it just seems like lately we sort of we prided ourselves on dealing with set pieces. We're quite our stats are quite good on that.
Yeah.
And and at the end of the day, it was still a bit scrappy because we kind of sort of half dealt with it when it first came in, and wherever it dropped, Woodman makes the save, and wherever it drops that's just pot luck, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think if you're giving Woodman a bit of stick for that, I think that's really, really unfair. Like, I think you've got to remember as well, it's the pace of the ball that's coming back at him as well from the save he makes. It's not like as if it's a tap in just rolling to him. There is a bit of power behind that, a bit of power and pace. So for him to even get a hand on it, I think that's a brilliant save.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, it's one of those. It doesn't go back out for the corner. It just goes back into dangerous area, doesn't it?
Just scrappy, isn't it? I think just on the height thing as well. I thought they were going to win most of the battles all day in the air with those two at the back. But I just would have liked to seen us put the ball in a bit more often, though, because I think like every corner we had, we took short and didn't. It's going to be so hard to break them down, even if you play it on the floor. It's going to be so hard to break them down because at times, especially after the goal, they had 10 men behind the ball all set up. And when we did throw the ball in, like Ayew wins the header for the when he hit the post, he wins that header. And there was a couple then that we started to throw in, which caused a bit of mayhem, asking some questions. So I think they should have chanced it a bit more. So I understand, like we're probably not going to win a lot of them, but I think they should have chanced it a little bit more with putting balls in there. Because Whittaker's quite tall as well, isn't he?
Yeah, but you could see when we were kicking the ball up to Whittaker in the first half, like Whittaker, I would say had a really good game. The first 30 minutes, though, he really, really struggled. I thought he might have got hooked at half-time after that. He did start coming lively in the last 15 minutes before half-time, but I don't know whether it was a case of his first start for the club in such a big game. He wasn't expecting the physicality of Cardiff, but he kind of looked a bit shell-shocked in that first half an hour. But, like I said, I was the first person to be like, he needs to come off for half-time because I didn't think he was doing well at the start of the game. But the second half, he was a different player, especially. So I'll give him credit there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think playing short corners as well. If you look at even like Roberts, like that's become a weapon for us now. Roberts' throw-ins. We didn't have Cabango on the pitch, and I think when you got Cabango, he's probably one of our biggest players. Yeah. I think that offers a little bit more of a threat than in the box. Maybe you wouldn't see so many short corners. May even have Roberts chucking in a couple of throw-ins like it's worked before. I think Roberts chucked one on Cabango's head at Barnsley away. Hourihane Coventry home, Cabango sticks it in. Yeah. And for me, I would have played him instead of Norton, and that's nothing against Norton. I do rate Norton. I think he's a good player to have in the Championship and for what is relatively a young side as well. But I think just for the physicality side of things, I would have chucked Cabango in.
Yeah.
I can't find the stat now, but I did see one saying that Cardiff had scored like the most amount of goals from set pieces, and it was such a difference to second place. I have got the exact numbers to tell you the facts, but it was something like 24, and then the second place was like maybe 10, 8, 10, something like that, in terms of direct goals from set pieces. So, that is their strength at the end of the day, and it's not like we're the first club that hasn't dealt with that. We know it's coming, like everyone else knows it's coming. Sometimes it's just harder than you can always say. You can always do better, but at the end of the day, there's two teams on the football pitch, and we're working on our way of playing. They're working on their way of playing, and theirs worked on this occasion. That's the bottom line, really. So yeah, they scored the goal. Very frustrating that it came in the 8th minute because, like you said, Jordan, I always felt the same. That first goal wins these sort of games. I said it. I've got a couple of Cardiff supporting friends, and since we've been back in the Championship together the last 2 years, I've said before every derby, the way that both teams play, I just think the first goal is just wins it, because if Cardiff score first, they just defend it. Like, they just sit back and defend, and if we score first, they've got to come at us, and then that just helps us play through them more, which kind of we saw up there in the 2-0 win earlier this season. So it just shows that that's like the two contrasting game styles and how important that first goal is.
Yeah, definitely. No, I was just agreeing that's all, because even if you look at the the Premier League derbies, when we won 3-0 and they won 1-0, obviously it's the first goal again and the team tend to goes on and wins. It's not just like it's something that's happening recently. It's been going on for a while, so just one of those, unfortunately. One of those.
However, it took us a bit. I think that did shake us a little bit as a team. It kind of knocked the stuffing out of the team a little bit. But it took them about maybe 15-20 minutes to sort of recover from that, and then all of a sudden there was only one team in the game.
Yeah.
In terms of trying to actually do something. Obviously, Cardiff didn't necessarily need to because they were 1-0 up. So it just turned into a game of like us trying to score, and they were camped in their own half. I think the only notable... Sorry, I've missed one notable thing out before this started, and that is Woodman's error. So Bennett plays a back pass to Woodman, and I know he's getting a lot of stick, but we've got to talk about it.
Of course.
He sort of delays himself, like getting rid of the ball. He thinks he's got time, which, to be fair, he probably did have a little bit of time, but he's just too casual about it, and I think he tried to play it back to Bennett, who is like, at this point, the reason he turned in the first place to play it back was because he was under pressure. Kiefer Moore's coming through, so Kiefer Moore's got in between him and the keeper, and Woodman just seems to think he can play it back to Bennett. I'm guessing he meant to play it more to the left or something, but he got it completely wrong and gave it straight to Kiefer Moore. Tries to recover. Potentially, if Kiefer Moore had gone down, because there was some contact, he gets sent off. Kiefer Moore, to be fair, credit to him, didn't go down and was honest, tried to score a goal, and I've got to say bottled it, because he really should have scored.
Yeah.
He should be 2-0 down. And Bennett has saved Woodman by not giving up on the cause, running back and clearing the ball. Which I think at the point that ball was given away, I was like, looked away, looked back at the screen, and Bennett's clearing the ball. I was like, what? How has that happened? But what do you make of Woodman's error then, Lee?
I think I'm trying to remember. I think he's trying to play it to Grimes. Grimes is sort of coming to take the deep ball, I think, and he sort of just plays it straight to Kiefer Moore. I don't know, and I know a lot of people have been slating Woodman, and I'm not gonna sort of trash one of our players too much, but his distribution in the last 3 or 4 games has been a bit worrying. And I'm not saying drop him or anything like that, miles from that, but it has sort of creeped in. I remember the Luton game where there was a couple like that, where we sort of got ourselves into trouble when he was trying to play it out from the back. I don't know, so maybe it's something the teams are looking at, putting him down into pressure because he's taking a bit longer.
Since that goal against Bristol, really, I think a lot of people have been.
And I think Kiefer Moore has to score there. That's got to be 2-0. I don't know. I think he doesn't. I don't think he realises that Bennett is coming back, because he seems to just be casually rolling it in. If he just hits it harder, he scores. Yeah, that's pretty much it on that, I think.
Yeah, spot on. like the last 3 or 4 games. He's been like a backwards Nordfeld, isn't he? Like his distribution shocking, but he's brilliant with his hands. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think now with the international break coming up, I think it's a perfect time for him now just to regroup, have a little break, and go again. Like you said, I'm miles away from dropping Woodman. I'm not saying him as a bad keeper because
we've never seen him play, have we? So
yeah, I was just about to say I haven't seen a lot of him, so I can't judge. But I wouldn't say Woodman is that bad. You know what I mean? He is a good keeper, just going through a really bad patch.
I don't think. I think it's come the same sort of time that the defence hasn't been the same standard as it was earlier this season. The same time we've stopped scoring, so everything's come together. It kind of highlights it a little bit more, makes him a little bit of a scapegoat. But you can't change your keeper now with 9 games left or whatever it is. It's just that's asking for trouble.
No, I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't. Because Woodman still offers something. I mean, you got to look at the Harry Wilson chance as well. You know, where he cuts inside and sells Gurhey. Like he makes a really, really crucial save. I know it counts for nothing at the end of the day. I mean, we went on and still lost, but you know that's 2-0, and you can pretty much call that game over there and then. But with that save, he kept us in the game.
5 saves he made altogether in the match.
Yeah, he's not a bad keeper at all, and I see a lot of people saying like, oh, you know, get out of my club and this, that, and the other. I mean, first of all, he's only on loan, so yeah, he will be. But like,
he'll be gone in the summer.
Yeah, but he's not as bad as everyone's making out. It's so reactionary. Like,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, people were moaning about Mulder. People were moaning about Nordfeld. Like
we said this before. It's like there's always a scapegoat at the club, isn't it? Like Grimes had a paste in last season, didn't he? And he was the scapegoat when things went wrong. And it seems to be, Woodman has made mistakes, and we'll admit that. But it just seems to be him at the moment. Things go wrong, and this Woodman needs to be dropped as a first point all the time now.
Yeah, I think you can. There's no harm in criticising a player if they've done something wrong. You know, like at the end of the day, those mistakes you wouldn't expect from any keeper playing at that level. Like in the Championship, you'd expect that to be like quite a simple pass.
Yeah.
But if he's done wrong, you do have to say, right, yeah, okay, you know, that's just absolutely shocking. But I wouldn't go as far as saying, yeah, no, get out of my club.
It's just ridiculous.
And with the criticism as well, criticise him in the right way, not directly messaging girlfriends or players directly.
Yeah,
I think there's
I heard about this.
Yeah.
Was it Whittaker?
Yeah. It was Whittaker, and I just think that's awful. Like, why? What is the point? There is no point at all.
I don't support that in any way. Like, the boy's been here, 2 months? And, well, it don't matter if he's been here 2 months or 2 years. Like, it really doesn't matter. You still shouldn't be doing that. His missus has got absolutely nothing to do with the football game. Like, and Whittaker, this is the thing I find really funny. Whittaker was probably one of our best players on the day, if not the best player. You could make a case.
Yeah.
And
if someone was going to score, it probably was going to be him.
Yeah, if anyone was going to score, you would have said Whittaker. And you get kids then, don't you? In the DMs, like, I don't know what was said, but I know his partner openly came out and said like about it. And I was like, why do you feel the need to do that? Like, it's a Saturday night. Like, have you not got anything better to do? Or, like, I know we're in lockdown, but
I don't get it.
I really don't get it. It frustrates me, to be honest.
People criticise the fans for not being so engaged. Not the fans, sorry. People criticise the players for not being so engaged with the fans, for deleting social media, for, like, kind of staying... You know, not like back in the day where you're in a club and you love your club and all that sort of stuff. This is one of the reasons why that is a thing, because how can they feel attached to the fans when the DMs are just flooded with like, oh, you're rubbish, you crap. You're like, yeah, they might have had a bad game. Go and make a tweet about it, not necessarily slandering him with bad words, but just say, look, Woodman's made a bad error there. You know, we need to sort it out. That's fine, but not like with Whittaker. Like, why involve the girlfriend for a start? But even if you're sending him the same messages, there's just no need for it.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing there. Like, I think now obviously with like social media and stuff, we're at a good time where you do get more of a glimpse. I remember when we were growing up, like you didn't see anything with footballers, did you? It was like they're all sort of hidden, and but now there's so much more engagement, And like it's quite like you've got like Connor Roberts' girlfriend there, like post pictures of him and videos and
TikToks,
stuff, and it's funny, it's good, it's nice to see it. So I don't get why your first reaction if someone plays bad is to go and message their partner. I don't get it.
Go on.
No footballer is safe out there now, are they? You know, it's so easy to chuck a message. Like, there's so many platforms that you can message footballers these days on. I mean, granted, they may not see it, but they get it, and it only takes that one message. I think
they do see it.
Joe, is it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it might have been Joe Roden. Last season, his Twitter, like, he got rid of that, and I'm pretty sure it was something similar.
Yeah,
I mean, not that it makes a huge difference, but he's not only a Swansea City player, but he's a local boy. Like what? Like he's a Swansea City fan, and you're giving him loads of stick. Like, all right, he was playing bad at that point. Like I said, you can't hide away from the fact if a player's playing bad. Like, that player has to.
What player doesn't have a bad spell?
Yeah, I don't know any footballer that doesn't have a bad spell, and it's up to them then to put it right.
Ronaldo's being questioned at Juventus being a flop because they haven't won the Champions League. Do you know what I mean? And he's one of the best players in the world. So
yeah, we're talking about Ronaldo. Do you know what I mean? Like, every footballer is going to have a bad stage, but it's not going to help them get back to their best if you're constantly giving them stick.
Yeah.
Like in the messages or whatever. It just angers me. I just really don't get it.
You're just making it worse than you. He was like in the Prem.
Yeah, I'd wonder. It's probably. I wonder if it's the same across the board with all sort of clubs. I remember when Cardiff lost the derby last season. I think it was Sean Morrison when he had to delete his Twitter, and I don't know if he deleted it, but he came out and said like people were messaging his wife or his girlfriend, and it was a similar sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's just not on.
So it's probably just I just don't get it.
Even for Cardiff, like same thing. Yeah, we won. No point either bragging to the Cardiff players in their DMs or for Cardiff fans that are going in there saying they weren't good enough. Like, and that comes back to the whole thing now where you said, like, people have said the performance yesterday wasn't good enough. They lacked passion. I don't think they lacked passion, to be honest. I don't think they didn't try. I don't know how you two saw it, but for me, they tried. Yeah, I don't think it was not a lack of passion. It's never going to be the same when it's like no fans there. But
no, definitely not. And I honestly think if fans were there, I mean, it is that extra little bit, isn't it, that you need some days, and maybe one of those, those strikes would have gone in, because fans are there. And I know that sounds really stupid, but I don't think it was a case of a lack of passion or anything like that. If it was the case of a lack of passion, we would have been out of the game a long time ago.
No, and like, Cooper was fuming. You could see it really, like, Cooper was not happy with not happy with his players, but like he was visibly frustrated the fact that we lost the derby.
I think when Ayew's header hit the post and you just see him like put his hands on his knees, you could just clearly see it wasn't just anger, it was just pure frustration, just like, it's not a day, boys. Like, nothing's going in. Like, you could clearly see that.
I credit to Mick McCarthy as well, because he came out and said, like, he reiterated the fact that Cooper had said it's not our day, to which he was like, oh, fair, that probably is true, but it was obviously Cardiff's day. And Mick McCarthy also, we haven't obviously spoke for the second half yet, which we will get back to in a second, but there was an incident where I think it was Bidwell, someone tackled Bidwell, I can't remember the actual tackle, but the Swansea bench was up in arms about it, saying should have been at least a card, there wasn't even a foul given, and the ref was not happy with their reactions, so he came over to speak to Cooper.
Yeah. And
basically it was like, nip it in the bud, like, I'm having it. And Mick McCarthy actually came around, turned to the ref and said, it wasn't him, ref, I don't know who it was, but it wasn't him. And then the ref goes away and they kind of like nod to each other or something. Like, derby match and all that, and you don't want to say nice things for the other team, but like, credit to him there. Like, that's good sportsmanship, even in a match like this, and I think that's worth mentioning.
I find it really hard to say nice things about anything Cardiff City related, and I think we all do, but if McCarthy has done that, then you can't hide away from it. It is like, fair play.
Warnock would never have done that.
Oh no, Warnock would be having a fine as we speak now, like, and everything else. But no, with McCarthy, like, fair play. If he has done that, then it's, like you said, it's great sportsmanship. You can't argue with it.
I think.
But I think that's a big reason why Cardiff won. Yes, as well, because obviously McCarthy.
Yeah. I think on the like on the passion thing, I don't think it was necessarily us not having passion. You could see the players are gutted. Everyone was gutted losing that game. I just think that Cardiff wanted it that extra % more.
Yeah.
I think it meant a little bit more to them with that, like again going back to the double thing, and
the streak they haven't won for a while.
I think, like in like top sort of elite sport, that extra percentage I think is massive. They were just throwing bodies at, and again, I don't like to credit them too much, but I do think, and I think like respect to them for just that's how big the derby is, that's how big it is, and that's how good it is to watch. Well, for us anyway, because it's just that's how much it means to them, and I think it just meant a little tiny bit more to them yesterday. Than,
and I'm sure if it was the other way around, where they had won the first game and it was like roles reversed, it would have been the same. Because it would have been like, well, we don't want to be the first team to have the double done against us. And as much as it's like, I think you have a little bit more motivation to stop that happening than you do to make it happen. Because there's more pressure on like, or that you get more like negative comments and like, it's down in history then when you're the first one to have that done to you. So I think there's more motivation to stop it happening than there is to make it happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Put it this way anyway. The last time we went up there and won, and they came down here and won, we finished third and got promoted. That's so true. I'm not saying for definite.
He was 1-0 as well.
I am reaching there, right? I am reaching massively, but I'm trying to find every single positive that I possibly can.
Yeah, we'll talk about maybe how this result affects the rest of the season at the end when we finish discussing the match. I think that would be a good one to finish on. But final thing on like what we said in terms of all this and the negativity to the players and their partners and stuff. You said about it being other clubs as well. I think Lee mentioned that, but it's not just other clubs; it's other sports as well. I just want to highlight Liam Williams has had a lot of stick for the rugby.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Because of his yellow card, which apparently cost us the Grand Slam, which, how can you even say that? I mean, they looked like scoring for the last 15 minutes. I don't think necessarily it was like one yellow card that's let them in. But again, that's just ridiculous. Why are people doing it? I just don't understand.
I think with the way the momentum of the game was going anyway, I think France would have ended up breaking us down some point.
Yeah.
And even if he did cost us the game, which me personally, I don't think he did, but let's say he done something far more stupid, the stick that he got on social media, it goes back again to saying like how easy it is to target anyone now on social media. It's just not on. It's just really not on.
And look, we're not here to talk about the rugby today. We'll do that in a video in the future, but it's just ridiculous. He was visibly crying in the sin bin because he knew he made a mistake. He doesn't need like all these keyboard warriors telling him that he's made a mistake. He knows he's made a mistake. Like, I'm sure he feels a lot worse about the fact that they didn't end up winning a match in the red. The clock was in the red. I'm sure he feels far worse about it than you feel watching the TV because we haven't beaten France.
Yeah.
Like, he's the one that's not got a medal.
Yeah, 100%. It's always the ones as well that never show their face either. Yeah. It's always the ones that's hiding behind something, whatever it may be. It could be a sportsman or just whatever picture it may be. You know, it's always those type that seem to pipe up the most.
Yeah.
Is it mainly like kids? Is it just a new generation of people who just think it's okay to?
I think so. I'd imagine that's what the likelihood is. I mean, I have no idea how old they are because you can't even see them.
Yeah,
you know, like it's a tricky one.
Debate, isn't it? Like, should you have some sort of like ID to get a social media account so that you can be accountable?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. Like, there's absolutely no harm in that, and it verifies who you are, and it shows who you are as well. Yeah. And like the people that were giving him stick, it could have been, you know, a 14, 15-year-old kid who just thinks it's funny in general, or a 40-year-old going through a really hard time with his missus or whatever. I don't know, but that's the thing, and I think that's a good reason as well why we need.
I think
verification, let's say, of who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's coming, isn't it? I think because like I don't know. I don't know if it's just me, but it seems to be maybe just because it's highlighted a bit more now. But it just seems to be happening more. The more that people talk about it, it seems to just keep happening.
The social
I
media
don't know why.
companies don't take control of it as well. They just pass the buck a bit, and I think
But
that makes it worse.
It's like it's a two-way street though. Like fair enough, the players, all right, they get, and this is not an excuse by me. They get paid good money. They're in the public eye, so sometimes they got to answer to paying fans if they're not playing well. But that's where you draw the line.
Yeah, 100%.
We can say you didn't play very well. I'm annoyed. We lost the derby. You didn't play very well. I'm gutted. Like fair enough, and they probably know that themselves. But you can't go overboard. You couldn't go up to somebody in the street and say some of the things that people say on social media. You've got to be accountable for what you say.
And that's the problem.
Some of the things that people say are ridiculous.
There's no repercussion for what you say on social media. You don't get punched in the face like for saying these things in the street like you would in real life. And that's the issue. That is the issue. That's why people do it now.
I think a lot of people forget as well. It's like Lee just said. No, a lot of these players know exactly how we feel as well. Like Grimes put post on Instagram today saying like we are like really sorry about the result. Like it's not what we wanted, and we know it's not what you wanted either. Yeah. And he is our captain, and he knows full well like that is exactly not what we wanted. He's come out and gave us an answer. He's basically saying, yeah, we are going to do our best to put it right for you. And that's all you want. You just want someone to come out and say, look, we know we messed up, but we're going to just focus on the next game now. We can't change what's happened.
Yeah.
But you still get a lot of people. You still get a lot of people then.
That's not good enough, though, is it? It's like, oh, well, that's just PR speak. He's just saying the words. Then you need to put the actions on the pitch.
Can't win.
Well, what do you want him to do in this moment? They're not playing right now, are they? So what do you want him to do?
Yeah. Like
not apologise? Not apologise and just forget about it? Is that better? Don't know. Yeah. Don't think so.
Anyway, you'll never win. You'll never win.
You can't win. And we could end up on the last laugh anyway, because if we did get promoted and they didn't, then who cares? But the last thing on all of that, the whole double thing and everything, at the end of the day, for the season, it's 1-1 or 2-1 on aggregate if you want to be pedantic. But we won one game, they won one game. 2-1. So it's really not the end of the world. Anyway, second half, because it's been a long time since we discussed the football. So before the second half, we mentioned obviously Woodman's error. The only other notable thing Cardiff did, I think, in the first half, Bakuna had a shot, I think, which Woodman saved. Towards the end of the first half in the box, and there was also one where it was played across the face of the box where he didn't get onto the end of it, but could have been, if he was a bit closer, it would have been the tap in.
Yeah.
On to the second half after that, and they had one opportunity, Cardiff did. The rest of the half was all Swansea. First half of the second half wasn't as good as the second half of the second half, but I guess we went more attacking mid-changes. In terms of stats, before we look at some of the chances that we had, so Swansea had 23 shots, Cardiff had 9, but we only had 1 shot on target compared to 7. Now I'm highlighting this because I see a lot of people saying, oh, we had all them shots but only 1 on target. But for me, that's not a correct stat, right? And I'll explain what I mean. There was also 13 blocked shots, okay? The actual number of shots off target was 9. So 23 shots, 9 off target. So if we had 23 shots, there's 9 off target and 1 on target. Well, it doesn't add up, yeah? So there's 13 blocked shots. I watched the highlights back earlier. One shot that wasn't counted as a shot on target, for example. Mac Grimes from a corner fires it from outside the box. That was definitely going on target and someone blocks it.
Yeah, Kiefer Morse.
Yeah, it's just the way the stats work, right? So if there's a couple of bodies in the way, they don't count as a shot on target. So when it does say 1 shot on target, that looks really bad for us. But when Cardiff have got 10 players in the box, it's a bit hard sometimes to get it through unless you're trying to walk a ball in, which is another debate in itself. But
yeah.
I'm just saying this because you're saying like people are saying we played bad and using the 1 shot on target as a reason we played bad, but I don't think that tells the full picture.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'll be honest, I was one of the first that came out saying like, 23 shots, 1 on target, like that's poor. Like, well, I worded it a lot more different than that, but And then you think back on the game and you think, well, Morrison was chucking his body on everything. Flint was chucking his body on everything. And I think some of those shots, like you've already touched upon, like I'm basically repeating exactly what you said, but some of those shots were goal bound, especially Grimes's from the corner. Like he's rifled that, and that's going on target. I don't know where, but it's definitely on target.
He kept it down well when you compare it to Dander, who didn't. Then,
yeah. I completely
anyway,
forgot that.
move on.
To be honest.
Move on from Dander.
Yeah, again, like, you know, I do like Dander, but I completely forgot he played. Like, I forgot he even came
it
on.
was only 10 minutes, I think, that he had.
Yeah.
Oh, there we are then. But yeah, Grimes' shot again. Like, that was definitely going on target. Like, I don't know whether the keeper would have saved it. I mean, he would have had a hell of a job. But there were so many shots that, like, Morrison, he was so frustrating yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like Morrison, right?
Not me.
I'm not his biggest fan, right? But if that was one of our defenders when we were 1-0 up, I'd be praising that for God knows how long. Like, if I was any of our defenders, but the fact that it was against us and the importance of the match as well, I just don't like the guy. I just can't stand him.
What he's trying to say is fair play. He put his body on the line. But how many times have we done that this season where we've held on to a 1-0? Just saying. A lot of other teams could be feeling that from playing us. Like Luton, for example, recently. They should have won that game. Just like, that's literally the same, isn't it? So we've done it enough times to other teams that it's like, okay, it's your turn to suffer, and it just happens to be against Cardiff, which is what hurts.
Yeah, we got frustrated by what we've pretty much done near most of the season, because we've seen a number of teams do it against us. You know, like constantly chucking shots at us, and whether if it's Bennett, Gurry, Cabango, whoever it may be. And the fact that it's happened in this particular game, it makes it that little bit more frustrating. The fact that it was Cardiff.
Yeah.
Yep. Anything to say on the shot stuff, Lee, before we move on from that?
I don't know. Yeah, this is probably another one. If you asked me yesterday, I was really upset about it. But I don't know where I stand on it, because I think there's probably a bigger issue at play when you look back at like the last couple of games. I think that is the template to play against us now. If you get an early goal and sit back, I just can't see us scoring.
But that's been the template to play against us for years, let's be honest.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, this season, it hasn't been like that up until the last sort of, I don't know, how far back do we go? Do we say like since the Man City game, we haven't really been firing that well?
But then we don't necessarily like play the passing football all the time this season. And a lot of the time when we've got results, we haven't played the passing football. The fans have criticised our style of play. When we just first half against Bristol City, second half here in this game, where we've been peak like passing it as much as what we would expect, we haven't got nothing out of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's that. Again, and this is not a criticism. It's just different styles of playing. But I don't necessarily we do play passing football. We just have a lot of the ball because teams are sitting back now, and they're just sort of saying, "Well, what are you going to do?"
Spot on.
And it's like you could say, like, I think this is why the stats can be misleading. Something like we were saying earlier about the shots on target, but I think like the Bournemouth game we had more possession, didn't we? But it was more of a case of them just saying, right, we're 2-0 up now. You're not going to break us down because I don't think we've got it in the locker.
No, I understand that, but I'm it's not like we could have just started hoofing the ball up as well. That could have been a way of didn't even do that in 90 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
Like me personally, I find the football that we've played this season compared to when last season resumed again, I look at it and I think, you know what, there's some certain aspects of it that are very similar. You know, we've kept the same shape. Obviously, Swansea is known for his passing style of play. Let's be honest. Like, yeah, we do pass the ball around tidy, but it's not as good as everyone makes out. Like, it's not the Laudrup or Rodgers days or Martinez days even. But I think the difference in the side we have now, and it's very key, the side we have now compared to last season, I know I shouldn't really be bringing it up because this ship has long sailed now unless something massively happened, but Brewster, You know, like I feel like we're missing that out and out number 9. Right, Lowe can play as a striker, but he's not a striker. Ayew can play as a striker, but again, he's not a striker. You know, like people tend to forget that he's not a striker. And when you've got someone like Brewster, I feel like if some of the chances that came our way yesterday, if
he would have scored.
we somehow, I feel if we somehow manage to get Brewster back down here, which, let's be honest, we're going to be.
If we go up, that's the only chance that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, it's only going to be if we go up this season, Sheffield United go down.
Well, I think that's pretty certain.
That's certain, isn't it? Yeah, but maybe not even Brewster. Even if it was just an out-and-out number 9 who knew where the back of the net was, doesn't necessarily have to play amazing all game, but
just score a goal.
It's only got to land to him.
Yeah, I think that I agree, and I'm trying not to be too critical, you know, because it's just because it's the derby, but I just think, like I say, on a wider scale, I think not having a 9, should we say, not having an out-and-out striker, it's probably cost us a minute. I think, and I don't want it to sound too negative either, but from my opinion, I think it seems like, and I hope I'm wrong, I think we've exhausted our sort of attacking threat with what we've got. Do you know what I mean? I know he's got like the wing backs and the 2 up front and that.
People know how to nullify it, don't they?
Yeah, that's what I mean. We're massively struggling to score goals now. It's becoming apparent. Hopefully it changes when we come after the international break, when they've rested, and maybe they'll pick it up again a bit. But at the moment, I think maybe he needs to change the formation. He has to change something now, because we're just not scoring enough goals. And it was a bit of a joke at the beginning of the season, wasn't it? Like we were winning 1-0 or 2-0 every game. I think it's only one game where we've scored 3 or more. But I think you're right. I think teams just know how to nullify our threat now, and we haven't got much else to offer. Now, I think Whittaker yesterday, like we said, for me, I think he was our best player on the pitch, because he was creating chances. He looked lively, especially in the second half. So maybe that is the answer going forward. And someone made a point on Twitter. I mean, a couple of people said, actually, if he had 3 games before that, maybe he puts one of them chances away.
Oh yeah, he's going to be rusty, isn't he? Like,
I don't know, fairness, it's first start, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's going to be rusty.
It's only his 6th senior start as well.
Yeah, and he's a young boy going into a South Wales derby. Like nerves definitely got the best of him when you look at like 90% of his chances yesterday. I mean, fair play to him. There was one where he cut inside and he was about 25 yards out, and he thought, I'm going to try and bend around the keeper. And I admire that, because
is that the one where he was in the box before that though, and I felt he should have hit the first time?
Yeah,
he didn't, because the angle was tighter. I'm not criticising him, just one of his chances. So he's played through. He's on the right side of the goal, got the keeper, and then I was like, put it low to the far post, innit? Try and like with the first time shot, but he turns, passes it to someone, does a 1-2, but then by the time he gets it back, he's on the outside of the box, and then he takes a shot on the inside post. Which I thought, if you're prepared to shoot from there, why didn't you just shoot first time? You would have in a better position.
Yeah.
But then that's experience, isn't it?
Yeah, the other chance.
I think that's yeah. I mean, I think it landed on his right foot, and his left foot, didn't he? It came over the top, and he just made a mess of it. But again, like you just said, no, I think it's literally just experience, and to be chucked into a game of that importance, and he is looked at now as like one of our main men, unfortunately, because obviously Lowe isn't exactly hitting the ground running again. Ayew is going through a little bit of a spell, unless it's a penalty, and Morris.
Yeah,
Morris has obviously done his ACL, and I think that's another one again. Like if Lowe, Ayew, they all get a little bit of a rest if Morris is fit. I don't necessarily know a lot about Areola, but apparently he can play there. But since he's been here, obviously I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see Areola again, to be honest. But
I'm starting to think whether if Areola even exists. I'm starting to think maybe it's just a thing.
It's a myth.
I don't know. It's a myth. Yeah.
Yeah. With Ayew, you're right though. But I just think Ayew is, everyone knows he's our main threat, because every time you speak to an opposition fan, they always say like how good he played, even when we think he wasn't that great. I feel like a SofaScore ratings as well. He was our second highest rating for yesterday, 7.5. Obviously, they look at all the different stats and add them up to make a rating. So that is what it is. I love Ayew. Obviously he's a quality player, but it would just be nice to have that. Yeah, I think
other option. Just to give him a rest, or even if it was an hour. And we bring him on with half hour left.
So what I was going to say is though, like I think teams are just marking him out of the game, knowing he's the main threat, knowing he's the main link-up as well.
Yeah.
A lot of the play goes through him. That's potentially what's making Jamal Lowe look a bit isolated. And the same issues were happening with Whittaker in the first half hour yesterday. I know he changed that afterwards, but Cardiff sat back. So, you need to base it on a bigger sample, really. But it could, that is a big issue, really, because if he is isolated, nothing else seems to happen. So that's where, and I went up number 9, we desperately needed one. And you mentioned Morris's injury. No one could plan for that to happen, and he did look exciting. I think we are lacking a bit of pace sometimes, and he definitely looked quick. And the other one as well, Cullen. Cullen, I think, was just hitting form, and he went off injured. So
forget about Cullen, didn't you? I mean, he hasn't played much. Obviously, he's had his injury, but prior to that, he didn't play much anyway, other than the Forest game in the Cup. But in that game, he was against Championship opposition. It's not like as if we were against lower league opposition, and he played really well up until his injury.
But I think he had a couple of subs before that where he was coming on, and then he started. It looked like that game was like, right, okay, he's finally maybe had a bit of experience in the Championship, knows what it's about, and he's going to start showing himself a little bit more. And then his injury has just ruined that, isn't it? So
yeah, he'll get his chance again, definitely, because you can just see from that game alone that he is like an out and out number 9. Whether he can do like a McBurney and get 20 odd goals, like we don't know. Like we haven't seen enough of him, and
but it just asks different questions, doesn't it, for these teams that know how to mark Jamal Lowe and Andre Ayew out of a game.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, we just won a number 9 because obviously Ayew, he comes deep, doesn't he? Like he tends to drop.
Yeah, he dropped
from
quite
that
deep
number 9 role.
as well.
And I think that's why Ayew and Brewster worked really well, because Brewster was just like, look, I'm just happy to sit here and wait for my chance, like while Ayew was dropping deep. Yeah. And I think Cullen would do something similar.
Yeah, and this is I was going to go on to this after what we're doing now, talking about like the running and that. I just think I wouldn't want to say like we've been found out, but what I mean is I think like what I was saying about our creative thing. I think in terms of changing it, I maybe put Ayew on the wing instead of Whittaker when he does that, just to mix it up a bit. Maybe drag some players onto it, because they are on him all the time, aren't they? Yeah. Put him out on the wing. I remember him playing on the wing when we were in the Premiership, like, and feeding some ridiculous balls through and stuff and creating stuff, giving him a bit more of a free role and playing Whittaker through the middle.
Was that one to Baffertimby Gomez with the outside of his foot? And he's like, how was he bent it that way with the outside of his foot?
That was against United, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Probably. But again, like, I didn't even think of that, to be honest. That's another thing we should be thinking of. If you take Ayew out wide, you're not only taking their right back, but if they're double marking him, you're taking another centre back, and then that leaves like Whittaker, Cullen against a one-on-one situation, isn't it?
And that's where maybe Cooper needs to hold his hands up a little bit. And I usually stick up for Cooper, I'll be honest, but like he always says, I want Ayew closer to the goal, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But now you need to change, like show that you can maybe adapt. That's all, really.
I think, again, we'll probably come on to this later, but I think maybe, well, I wouldn't, we're not out of the promotion race yet. We're not out of it by any stretch at the moment, but we are chasing now. We are chasing it. So I think maybe go to a back 4, and play Low and Ayew on wide and Whittaker through the middle. Just maybe try something else, because, touch wood, and we'll probably come back and crucify me for this, but I think we've got playoffs. I know, what happened to Forest last year.
Why have you said this? Why?
We're 10 games left.
You're going to be on that Twitter account now at the end of the season.
Let's be fair.
EFL out the context.
If they throw it away from here, if they throw it away from here, I'm just going to be devastated. So what I mean is maybe just go a bit. Yeah, we shouldn't. Well,
I can't see us not. We probably only need like 2 or 3 more wins to guarantee playoffs, I would say.
But as an outside bet for promotion, Chuck. As an outside bet for promotion, Chuck. Go 4-3-3 for a game. Try it. At home.
Well, that's what happened last time, wasn't it? Like before the lockdown kicked in last season, the first game back when we played Middlesbrough, we went to the back 5, and it worked, and it's worked brilliant. So
that game was brilliant. It was 3-0 in there. We smashed them.
Yeah, 3-0 half time, I think it was.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
That was good football first half, and that shows we can play attacking, passing football into Cooper again.
Yeah, like I rate Cooper. Like I do like him, but it's getting to a point now where we've ridden our luck for
look, he's
a
in our
couple of
position.
games. Now, the only benefit, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the only benefit of losing to Cardiff, because of the importance of that game and we lost with that formation, it might make them think, right, okay, now I've got to change something,
Maybe it gives him all a kick of the backside as well.
Yeah. Like, I feel if we lost that game to, I don't know, who's mid-table these days? Preston. Let's say we lost to Preston in that back
The
five
manager's
on
been sacked today.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Neil's been sacked, and yeah. But let's say we lost that game on Saturday or yesterday to Preston or wherever it may be, anyone other than Cardiff, I think he would just stick with this now for the rest of the season if we'd already played Cardiff twice. But because of the importance of the game, I think he knows now, right, let's change it up a bit. And I'd consider even going to a back four, like Lee said. I'd consider it. I know like Roberts and Bidwell, when they were in the back four, did get their criticism because they weren't as attacking. And Bidwell and Roberts are brilliant attackers. But you can question both on their defending at times.
Yeah, I think Roberts is not great as a right back sometimes with his defensive stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was Wales against Croatia and Perisic absolutely rinsed him.
Yeah, Perisic is quality.
I know that's a different level of opposition, don't get me wrong, but I just remember that's just one that stands out to me.
He did make him look a bit average. Do you know what I mean? Let's just say he made him look average. And Connor's a brilliant attacker, but the problem is if we go to a back four and Roberts and Bidwell are both treating it like a back five, you've got to
maybe say like, I don't know, maybe I would say Bidwell, if we got the ball, transitions to a back three, Roberts is allowed to go up, Bidwell transitions into the back three, but then when we lose the ball, Roberts comes back into position. That's what I would go with.
Something you can do. I mean,
yeah, I think
the other alternative, if we were going to stick with the five at the back, and I'm going to be absolutely slated for this because of the QPR game in the Cup last year. Bidwell, right? He's not a centre back in a two, but I think if you put him as a left-sided centre back and had Manning on the left as a wing back, I think that could work.
Yeah, but it works. It works on the other side, isn't it? With Norton as a right back, as the right centre back.
Right,
Kyle Walker does it for England as well.
Yeah.
Well, funny you mentioned Bidwell, right? Because we'll talk about we'll start to wrap up the video soon, but we'll have a look at individual players, and then maybe look at the run-in as well. Bidwell, I thought was watching the game. The one thing I thought he was winning a couple of headers, but now I've had a look at it. He has a really bad game yesterday. There's one stat that highlights this. It's quite poor. 11 accurate passes he made yesterday in his 70 minutes on the pitch, 76 minutes. Ryan Manning come on for him, and he's made 12 in 15 minutes. 100% passing accuracy for Ryan Manning, 58% for Bidwell, who only attempted 19 passes. It's just he just wasn't in the game, and I'm not necessarily all of his fault, but I just feel like Manning, if there's ever been he's been playing well last couple of games, I think he's got to come straight back into the team next game, whatever the formation is. For me, he's now shown he is the one that's playing better.
Yeah, there's always a case between them two, isn't there? There's always a... Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to having him back in.
Yeah, Bidwell's had a good season, but I just don't know if maybe he's just run out of gas a little bit, because start of the season he was looking like scoring a couple of goals and getting in them positions, but 11 passes in 75 minutes is not good enough when we had 75% possession.
Yeah,
that is poor. That is extremely poor. But it's one of those things. I think Manning could do with a run of games. It's not as if Manning's a bad player. If you saw Bidwell on the team sheet, you'd be like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. But then if you saw Manning coming in for Bidwell, it's well, yeah, that's also fine. And I think it's good now that we have that quality on that side. Why not give Manning a couple of games? I think I can't remember who we played before Luton, but the Swans put up saying Ryan Manning starts 2 consecutive games for the first time for the Swans. I was thinking, was that the first time? Like,
Yeah.
I would have thought he would have done it ages ago.
Blackburn
like,
it was.
Blackburn, there we are. And he's full of energy, like forward and going forward and defending.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I think he should be starting a lot more. Why not rotate Bidwell and Manning?
He's looked good last couple of games. He put a good cross in the last game against Bournemouth, I think, which we probably had one of our best chances from, if not the best chance. He also put a good cross in this game. I can't remember who he picked out. He pulled it back to someone in the box.
Yeah, I'm trying to think now. I know exactly what cross you're on about, but I can't remember who he was looking for. I can't remember who was on the end of it.
It might have been like Whittaker or someone, but I can't remember. But it was a good opportunity anyway, nonetheless. Another one just in this debate. So Manning made 4 accurate crosses in those 15 minutes against Bidwell's 3. And bear in mind, right, Bidwell's only made them 11 accurate passes. He's had 41 touches of the ball. Manning made 12 accurate passes with 17 touches of the ball. It just doesn't look great, does it, really?
I think it goes back to exactly what you said. I mean, Bidwell just looks like he's run out a bit of steam at the moment.
Yeah.
Not necessarily saying that he's playing bad, because he's not. You know, I like when we, like before the first lockdown happened, and he was playing as an out and out left back. He wasn't great at all.
Yeah, last season he wasn't the fans' biggest.
No, definitely not. Like whenever something went wrong on the pitch, Bidwell. You know, it was all down. Like all came back to Bidwell, but like that stat alone, why wouldn't we give Manning a crack? Like why wouldn't we? And you could say that even before that stat. Why wouldn't we? The boy's clearly got like a lot of energy. He wants to clearly play his football. Like it's a good headache for Cooper to have. And why not just rotate them? I'm not saying like every single game, but give Manning a little bit more of a run in, because he can clearly offer something.
I completely agree. And like I said, I think it's time to go all back 4 and bring Manning in and change it up a bit.
Well, that's Manning and Bidwell anyway. He is more attacking anyway. We need goals, and I think it's time that we just try and get him in the game a bit more. Conor Hourihane went off with an injury, not confirmed how long that's going to be, but it's hamstring, so he could miss quite a few games now. Yeah. Which maybe, look, I'm not saying I agree with this, but a lot of people are saying Hourihane unbalances the midfield. It's kind of been, he's come at a time where we start playing bad. There's a coincidence or whatever. It sort of goes together. So if you're one of those people that thinks that is the case, maybe now with Cooper not able to pick him, maybe if form starts picking up again, I guess that's an argument for it. Like, I don't agree with it. I think there's more to it than just the fact that Hourihane is this, that, the other. And I also like to point out his direct goal contributions from assists and goals, which if he wasn't on the pitch, would we have won those games or had them points? But he can't be picked now, so regardless, we have to adapt to that.
Me, personally, I still think our best midfield is Smith, Grimes and Fulton, and that's nothing against Hourihane, because like what you said, would we have got those points if he went on the pitch? And to be honest, probably not, because he's one of very few players that's willing to take a shot outside the box or even have a crack from a free kick.
Yeah.
Do I think he unbalances the midfield? No. But would I rather use him as more of a impact player, because he's shown a number of times he's not necessarily a 90-minute player? Yeah, I probably would. I think I'd probably start with Smith, Grimes and Fulton. And again, nothing against Hourihane. But then if it's 0-0, let's say, and we're looking at the 60th minute mark, and you've got someone like Hourihane, which can clearly...
Yeah.
He can get you goals.
Well, that happened in Stoke away. He came on off the bench, and that was the first time we tried the diamond.
Yeah,
and that worked quite well when he came on.
I agree with you. I said in a few videos, it might have been the last one or a couple before. That's my midfield 3 as well, with Smith, Grimes, and Fulton. I think those 3 just together is solid. And
Speaking of those 3, I thought
Hourihane coming on works well, like you said.
Yeah, I think all those three did well yesterday. I don't think it was like it wasn't really there wasn't much going on in midfield, was there? Maybe the first 20 minutes or so. Although when Smith came on, maybe we started looking a bit more assured there.
I think Smith brings that nice tidy balance. Fulton brings the physical edge.
Yeah.
And then Grimes and Hourihane. I feel Grimes is Hourihane, but without the goals and the free kick. You know, I find both of them very similar in a way.
Yeah.
So I feel you can't play Grimes and Hourihane personally together. I think that's where the unbalance tends to come in then.
I think Grimes sits deep, doesn't he? And tries to spread the ball around. That's his kind of role.
Yeah, that is his kind of role. But my three would always be Smith, Grimes, Fulton, and I'd use Hourihane then as like more of an impact player. I'm not saying that he shouldn't start because he is a good player, but for the majority of the games, I that would be my midfield three.
Yeah, it could be just the fact he came in January as well, and just he's had to adapt to a system halfway through the season. Maybe if he was a summer signing, he would have had a bit more dynamic in that midfield. That could be part of the reason there. But Fulton had a good chance yesterday, didn't he? I think he got one in the top corner. That was quite close. We have mentioned that.
I would have loved Fulton to just.
If that went
it's not just because it would have made it 1-1. It's the fact that it's Fulton. Like I love it.
Well, we got a t-shirt ready made for that.
I think, I got a lot of time for Fulton.
Like I think with Hourihane as well, it's the fact that he hit the ground running straight away. Then it looked like he just settled in straight away, and maybe that's why Cooper finds it hard to drop him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not. He's like Ayew though. He can just turn up with that moment or that delivery from a corner when you're not playing well. That just gets you the points.
Yeah. It's like if someone turned around to me and said like, "Oh, my midfield three would be Hourihane, Grimes, and Fulton," let's say, I wouldn't argue with it because I totally get it. You know, I do get why people would pick Hourihane, but for me, he's more impact. You know, like I don't think he's a 90-minute player personally.
No.
Because he does tend to get hooked off quite a lot.
Same as Danda, and maybe them two interchange quite a lot, but
yeah. Like again, I completely forgot Danda played yesterday. Like came on.
He probably should have had more time than 10 minutes, to be fair, but you can't say Cooper didn't make changes because he did.
He did, yeah, he did. Okay,
so defence again. Like I thought Bennett was quite strong. I mean, I don't really know whose fault the goal was, so I can't. There's a couple of people involved, but in terms of blaming it on someone, I really don't know who you would blame it on.
I guess a mess, wasn't it? It was just
Grimes and Affleck on makes the situation worse, but then should he not jump for it? I don't know if that's the right thing to say.
I think it just bounced around the box, wasn't it? Yeah. It was just lucky in the way it just falls onto Flint's head as he's right. Like he doesn't have to move much for it, does he?
No.
It's like in his stride on his head, it just fell perfectly for him. It was just, and Woodman makes a good save, and it was just a bit of a goalmouth scramble, really, wasn't it?
So other than that, I think the defenders all did quite well.
Yeah. Like the thing is, there were so many bodies in that box. If Grimes doesn't go for that header, another Cardiff player gets on the end of it. And then
it was Morrison and Bennett were right next to them when so Bennett was marking Morrison, I think.
Yeah.
It looked like, I feel like, which Grimes wouldn't have known, I feel like Bennett would have won a header. It looked like he had out-jumped Morrison. Obviously, Grimes getting that flick on means Bennett then misses it. Yeah. But Grimes wouldn't have known that unless it was a shout, I guess. But then do take that risk because if you think you can get it, you've got to jump, haven't you?
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah. Like I didn't want to revisit the goal in too much detail. I was just trying to, while we're analysing performances, I didn't necessarily feel like anyone was at fault to say they were poor.
Yeah. Defenders, they didn't have a lot to do really anyway in the game today. The goal and like who was it? Kiefer Moore's chance. We said about Woodman, and then Harry Wilson's chance. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. But that was Woodman making a good save. Bennett covering back for Woodman. I think that is probably the notable moment from the defence.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't really know. Connor Roberts, second half, he was quite lively. But yeah, it was
one of those games, wasn't it? Like a lot went on, but it's hard to exactly pick out what went on. It was such a weird game. Like I feel like there was a lot of action in there, but the only thing that comes to mind, and I think it's just purely because it's Cardiff. The only thing that just comes to my mind is unfortunately that goal, and I'm not going to get over it for a while, to be honest.
No, look, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one to get over. But like I said, it's you always have it when it's on the other foot. We've had a decent run where we've won a couple, we've got a draw. It's always going to turn round at some point. It's always going to be the way in a derby. There's two teams. You're not going to win 100% of them. So you just got to take it on the chin, and we.
I've had a couple of Cardiff fans in work. Looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah,
I might have to hand my notice in or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
might just be easier.
Same, not going into work tomorrow.
Just don't say anything, and then see how the rest of the season pans out, because you might have the last laugh. You never know. Speaking of which, then let's look at the end of the season before we finish. So we have had quite a tough week this week. It was always going to be a tough week. 3 points or even 2 points from this week would have been something good from the opposition we played. Didn't get anything. Not the end of the world though, because when you look at the championship table, right? So we are 6 points behind Watford, which seems quite a lot at this point. However, and I know we keep referring to the game in hand, but it is there. It's up to us to take advantage of it. So we got a game in hand, and we also play Watford. So say both teams won all games now. I'm just theoretically saying that what is possible. Until we play each other at the end. If we win that game, then we go level on points. But the goal difference is heavily in their favour. So we really need them to drop points at this point. But I can't see both teams going undefeated until the end of the season with the run-ins that we've got.
No, definitely not.
So for us, we've got, you would argue, maybe a favourable run-in. So when we come back from the international break, I say favourable. We're playing Birmingham, who've just got a new manager, which isn't always the best thing for us. Yeah. Then we've got Preston, who just sacked their manager. Although I think they're not hiring a new manager, they're just sticking with the interim until the end of the season. However, then you've got Millwall, Wickham. Millwall is kind of like, they kind of got nothing to play for now. They really won't have by the time we play them. Wickham, whether they're relegated by then or if they're still fighting by the skin of their teeth, that could be quite difficult, but we are at home. You'd expect us to win that.
Yeah, definitely.
QPR, again, they'll just be kind of like Beach by then. Reading, that's tricky because they could be fighting to stay in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Derby, they might be safe and on the beach by the time we play them. And then Watford, which is the one where, it doesn't matter. It might not matter because if they're already secured second, it doesn't matter. It might just be us playing for which position in the playoffs we are going to finish in. However, it also might be, depending on results, us playing Watford to see who finishes second. So,
be some away day that would have been, wouldn't it?
I know. Last game of the season, sun out.
Last game of the season, whoever wins finishes second. God.
And then you look at Watford's run-ins. They've got Sheffield Wednesday, who you would argue is all right, that's quite straightforward for them. And Watford been really good at home, but Sheffield got a couple of decent results lately, and they made it difficult for Norwich, I think. And did they do something against Brentford?
They're also a game in hand as well, aren't they? Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't read that out, did I? But it wasn't on there. But I think it has been rescheduled now. Middlesbrough away, so that's difficult because Middlesbrough's still got an outside chance of playoffs. They've also got Reading, which is the same reasons what I said about us. Luton's probably one of their more favourable ones, but then they're playing Norwich, who are fighting to get 100 points in the league.
Nicer problems to have.
Yeah.
I know.
Millwall, again, is a bit of a dud match, probably. But then they got Brentford and us in the last 2 games of the season. So it's by all means assert that they're going to finish second. They've still got some tricky games. So it's not over. Not over at all.
You'd argue, I say you'd argue, they've definitely got a harder run in.
Yeah.
But
yeah, look, and they've had a really good period of form where they basically haven't lost. Well, they lost 1 game in 10 matches or something.
Yeah.
So, the new manager's come in, he's done well. But you've seen in the Championship plenty of times teams have these periods of form and then they'll have a bit of a dud spell. We've had it. Exactly. Cardiff had it. Maybe after the international break, Watford's momentum is a little bit stopped. we've got to hope, I
think
guess.
it's a bit of a checkpoint now, isn't it, with the international break? Because you've got to take stock now. But I don't know. I think they have got a harder run in with the way they're playing at the moment and scoring. I personally, I don't see us getting the top two.
I don't see us either, but we've always been better when we're not the favourite.
Yeah, well, I just think as well. And again, I don't want to sound too negative, but I think that, like I said, it's a checkpoint now. We are where we are. We've got to go into this after the international break. Maybe the rest helps.
Yeah.
Maybe that's going to be a massive factor in the way that we play. But the way we're playing at the moment, and I think we got away with results, and now we've had the last two results that sort of match the performances of late. But something has got to change for us to realistically mount the challenge for the top two, and even mount a challenge in the playoffs. Because if we carry on playing at this level, I don't think we'll get promoted like in the playoffs or in top two. And I'm hoping that the rest sort of helps that, and I think that it will. But like I said earlier as well, I think I'd love to see him go to a back four and have those three in the middle of Fulton, Smith, and Grimes, and then play like Whittaker through the middle and Ayew on the wing, or if he puts Whittaker on the wing, which he likes to do, and Lowe on the other wing. Let's just go and attack it. Let's just go and attack teams now, especially with the fixture list that we've got. They're all winnable games. Go and attack it, and then and maybe sneak in the top two. Maybe put a run together, but that's being That's just
I'm not saying.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
By any means, like we're going to get second, but I'm just saying it's not over yet. And the other thing as
That's
well
not over.
is, say we're probably going to get in the playoffs. So if we do get in the playoffs, hopefully after this international break, if we start putting a bit of form together, even if it takes a couple of games, if we can end the season with a little bit of form, go into the playoffs if that's where we finish, in a little bit of form, you never know, isn't it? Like, I'd rather get this spell now than this spell against the last couple of games, and then have the playoffs. They got the experience from last year as well, where they didn't go through against Brentford. I'm not sure who we'd end up playing. It's a tricky one to call at the moment. If we end up finishing, I mean,
please,
I don't want
we could still do the double.
One of the boys was saying the other day it's a matter of time before Swansea and Cardiff play each other in the final. And I said, never mind the final, mate. I don't want you in the semis. Like, I don't think I'd be able to cope with it.
It could happen, because we could realistically finish fourth if Brentford sort themselves out, because they've probably arguably been just as bad as us of late. They had two opportunities to overtake us and they haven't. I don't know how, but they haven't. And they weren't hard games either. You would have had them on paper. I think I had them to win in my bet, so like, done me over. But Barnsley, I probably would pick Barnsley out of the four that are in there now, but they're in fifth, so we wouldn't be getting them. It is third against sixth, isn't it?
Yeah.
Reading, I feel like Reading might drop out, mind.
I said this in the podcast, and I said I think Watford are going to go and Reading are going to drop out, and you slated me.
You said Watford are going to go. You mean go for second?
Yeah, I said that. Well, I said that Watford would finish above us because they had a bit more, and I said that Reading might slip away. And you said, "Oh, it's harsh."
I just said you're being harsh on Reading. I didn't say that wasn't going to happen.
No, well, to be fair, they still might finish in the playoffs. To be fair, so
yeah, they look like the team though. That's if
boys keep an eye out for Barnsley. Like,
they're fifth. No, but that's what I mean. They're fifth and they. So like, although their form, I think. They had all them wins, but they did draw one, and now they've lost. So,
where the hell have they come from, though?
I don't know.
I think now they're in there, it's different. I think getting to there is one thing. Now they're in there, it's another thing to maintain all them wins. Yeah, and I was talking to my friend about this as well, a Cardiff fan. I was saying, like, because obviously he was a bit frustrated at their form because it stopped them getting in the playoffs. And I was saying, I think Barnsley's style of play kind of suits how this season's going for everyone. Everyone seems to be getting quite tired and leggy, but Barnsley is so in your face from the first minute, like constantly pushing you up and like straight up and in your face, that as long as they got that tiny bit more in terms of like energy with their game plan, it kind of suits everyone being a bit tired if they're playing them, because people make mistakes and they end up winning. If you look at their match which they drew against can't remember who it was now. I think it was Derby.
Oh, it was awful.
That was a hoof. Well, yeah. Basically, Derby would like, okay, you're going to press us. We're just going to kick it over you. It was just such a bad game because then Barnsley would kick it straight back and then press them to like win the ball back, but then Derby were like, "No, we're just going to kick it back over you," and it was absolutely awful to watch. But we beat them twice this season, so if you're going to ask for any of them 4 teams, you'd ask for them.
Yeah, I think so. Anyone that's in that, well, those 4 spots for there, I'd pick Barnsley all day. And again, that's nothing towards Barnsley because fair play to them, they've done brilliant to get in the position that they have. Like no one would have said Barnsley to be where they are.
And if we had them in the semis and they beat us, I would want them to win. I'm just going to put that out there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, can you imagine?
They've already done that before, and they with us. But like if Barnsley went on and beat us in the playoffs, I would be 100% supporting Barnsley all day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I just think try not to get too excited about the playoffs just yet. Even though I said we're not going to drop out, we'll forget that.
You said it, you said it.
Barnsley fans.
Can you imagine Brentford in the final?
Oh, I don't want to play them ever again.
Hate Brentford. I know.
Can you imagine
Thomas Frank just does my head in.
Yeah.
But then
why can't we sign Ivan Toney?
So?
Why couldn't we sign Ivan Toney? We'd be up in Norwich, I reckon, if we had an Ivan Toney in our team.
Didn't he cost like 5 million as well?
Well, what I'm trying to say is like, if we had someone like him in our team, I think it'd be like we would have had. How many points would that get us? Just having that?
I don't know. A lot more than what we would have now. Never mind, boys. We'll have Bony last dance now.
Oh yeah. All right. Before we finish the video, then Jordan, make your little sort of speech for bringing Bony back. I saw you tweeting yesterday.
Like it was literally only like just a thought, purely because like what we've already touched about on the number 9 situation. Obviously, if Bony is still made of glass, you wouldn't, would you? Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't. But if he's fit and like raring to go, like, and he's actually fit, why wouldn't you have Bony in the Championship? And the wages that we would offer him now would be a lot more than what he's taking at the moment. He's not having anything. But it's the only way I think it's a stupid recommendation is the fact there's 9 games left. Like you wouldn't, would you? You just wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't think there's no point signing someone now for 9 games as a.
Definitely not. But I really want to see it. Like I really want.
I'd love it. I mean, if he came and announced it, I'd be all over it. But then in reality, he probably plays the game and it's shit, and then everyone eats him again. So.
Oh yeah, in reality, like he'll roll the ball for kickoff, and he's done his ACL like us, and unfortunately that's it, isn't it?
I just want him to do it so he can sing the song again in the announcement video.
I was speaking to one of the boys, Macy Monia, Reece Thomas, and I speak to him quite a bit, to be fair. Good lad, and he was saying, I just want to see the song being sung again, and him like, moving his hand in the air while everyone's singing the song. It's like, what? Those days, like, imagine that playoff final, Cardiff, Bony, job done. Like, imagine.
Can you imagine?
But I am like, it is literally the case of imagining it. You know what I mean? It's not gonna happen.
Yeah. I just saw because someone else you said it yesterday, didn't you? And then I can't remember who it was tweeted out saying like, oh yeah, what free agents are around. I'm currently looking at the rules because obviously Jordan mentioned Bony last night.
It was Stuart James, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I knew
famous, mate.
I knew straight away. I was like, "Oh, you have to tag me in that," and I guess I'm shit for this now.
Well, we have to bring that up, didn't we? So, anyway, any last words on the match from yesterday before we finish? There's one thing that we didn't mention, and that was potential handball in the penalty area in the second half.
No.
I don't know. You've seen them give one. You've seen them not.
Yeah, I said to Alid in our little chat, like, he sort of like clears it. I guess it clears it. It's his hand and his arms out to go the argument, but I wasn't.
It's not intentional, is it? Like, it's very clearly not intentional.
Yeah. I'm not sitting here being like, "Oh, the refs are idiot. Like, we should have had the penalty."
No, I mean, I was thinking that yesterday. I was screaming at the TV for handball, like, and even when I saw it back, I was still screaming for it purely because it was Cardiff. But in the back of my mind, I was like, "Nah, like that's not a that's not a penalty for me. I think if it directly hit his hand, and he's got his hand out like that in the first place, then
Yeah.
But it's the fact that he's clearly
Tries to clear it, and he's just like the sort of like swinging motion of your foot in and your arms out. It just glances. It doesn't really change the direction of the ball either.
No, like it's clearly not intentional, is it? And I think it comes off his thigh, doesn't it? Like he's tried to clear it, it's come off his thigh, and then it's bounced up on his arm.
Yeah,
and
it just brushes his arm as well, so it's not really like if he like it's his arm and directly it's back to the floor. Maybe you'd be like, yeah, okay, that's a little bit more in that,
but because of the fact who it was, I am going to say like penalty. Someone give Keith Cooper a call.
Yeah,
someone give Keith Dad a call.
Stonewaller.
I know. Any last words then?
No, let's just forget about the derby, shall we?
Yeah.
There'll be another one. We'll have another one, and start again. Then, innit? At the end of the day, all that it was they stopped us embarrassing them doing the double. That's all. It was a free card because they couldn't come out on trumps this year. At the end of the day, it's just a draw. So
yeah. I mean, on to Birmingham now, innit? That's all you can say.
We're looking forward to that. Easter weekend, we'll have the Friday game and the Monday game, won't we? That'll be good.
Friday game after international break. That's nasty.
It's Good Friday, innit? I like that weekend.
When are Wales playing?
Wednesday night, innit?
Oh,
Belgium.
Gee, that's awful.
Oh no, I don't know.
We got good memories of Belgium, So.
I don't know when Wales play before on that week.
They got
but
three
this
games.
week
They got 3 games.
It's, Wednesday they're playing Belgium. Saturday Mexico, and then Tuesday they're playing Czech Republic.
Oh, Tuesday.
So Friday's not a good day for us.
No, definitely not. But
let's hope Conor Roberts is dropped.
Yeah, I mean, he might do. He might play Nico Williams.
Yeah.
He might do.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about Cabango because I've been starting anyway, so he'd probably be a bit fresher. That's probably it today. There's no one else.
Well, Manning's going with Ireland, isn't he?
Oh, and Jamal Lowe's going to Jamaica.
Oh, hi. Christ. I forgot about that.
That's so random. It's just because they qualified, isn't it? So, like, they're just calling up all this English talent that's never going to play for England.
Literally. Jay Bothroyd got a call up mine, so never know. Never know. If Jay Bothroyd can make the England squad, then there's hope for every single one of us, whatever nationality we are. So,
Mac Grimes for England.
Mac Grimes for England. Oh, I'm going to say it now. That first season we were in the Prem, I still find it absolutely criminal that Britain didn't get a call up.
Yeah. It was always you have to be a big player back then. You still do to an extent now, but you would have had more chance now because he is including like Calvin Phillips from Leeds, for example, and
because he's young.
James Ward-Prowse again, and so I feel like he might have had a better chance if that was now. But back then, I can't remember who the manager was then, but it was definitely name players.
Oh, that's all I ever used to do when I was pick. Just
it was a shock when Shelby got in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Shelby got in.
And Mawson got in as well, didn't he? Once? I don't know if he left us, but
he didn't play though, did he?
Yeah, he got in the squad. He didn't play.
Yeah, no, he was while he was with us, I think, because he went a bit crap after he left us, didn't he? He had an injury and then just...
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll wrap up here. So, cheers for coming on, lads. Lee, Jordan, much appreciated.
No problem at all.
As always, guys, I know it's been, I don't know, we've probably been moaning and droning and ranting in this one for a while. I don't know how long it's been.
It's allowed.
I think over an hour, but cheers if you did make it this far. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Hopefully we'll make some good Monday morning watching for you while you're in work, or maybe not good because it's not really talking about a good subject, but enjoy where you can, innit? And we'll come back hopefully after the international break on a positive. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll obviously try and do some stuff over the international break, so we'll have the final rugby video, and we've got a couple of ideas that we might try and chuck something out, podcast and stuff. Engage in the comments, let us know what you thought of the derby. How disappointed are you? Have you had time to reflect now? Maybe you cool down a little bit like we have. Don't forget to like the video as well, because that helps us be seen by more people, helps us grow as a channel. And thanks for watching as always, and see you next time.
Yeah, see you soon.
Yeah. Take care, lads.
Cheers, boys.
See you soon.